Good morning. So, scrapped the gym, even though I'm in the gym kit. A bit rough around the edges. And just decided to be with the real medicine out here in nature. My beautiful land. And I want to talk today about something a little bit more openly than I perhaps have previously. And that is about how my twin flame experience has activated my mission. And I want to bring this in because I think there are many ways that we spiritually awaken, and I think that there are different levels of that spiritual awakening as well. I certainly had what I would say had some level of a spiritual awakening before I met my twin flame, but when I met my twin flame, that was it. That was really the big shift for me, and the collapse of my matrix as I knew it. And since then, my life has been this weird and wonderful journey home to my soul. Illusion after illusion has just fallen away, and my trust in myself, my love for myself, it just continues to grow. I'd say that my life is also paranormal, my dreams, the messages that come through the earth itself, the symbols, the synchronicities, they're insane. And last week was definitely a big one with the full moon. I also work with teacher plants, so I'm working with what seems to be quite an intense teacher ally at the moment. So maybe that's to do with it as well. But I had 3 nights of not sleeping at all, and then when I finally found sleep again, my dreams have been insane. Something that always comes up in my dream is my twin's karmic relationship, life partner, wife, whatever you want to call her. I don't know her, I've never met her, but she's always in the dream, and for a long time I just assumed that this was because she is connected to him, right? She is part of his life. But recently I've understood better that she's actually a mirror of me. And this is what we've got to understand when we are awakening spiritually. Everything is a mirror. Everything is a reflection. We are creating everything. Nothing's actually real. We are creating it, right? So she's actually symbolizing something in me. And once I'd realized this, the moon last week really helped me to see what she was reflecting to me. And it's the one that gets chosen. And in a very specific way as well, right? Because she ticks all the boxes. There was this very strong home energy coming through, the good wife, the devoted wife, and previously, obviously before I've awakened, I thought I needed to be chosen to feel safe, to feel worthy, and to feel loved. So Joe Dispenza always says not to look at what happens in the dreams. Like, you're not looking at what plays out, you're looking at the psychology behind it, feeling into what it actually makes you feel and what those scenes kind of represent about you. Maybe the roles or versions of yourselves that maybe it's not your truth. I know that I've done a lot of things in my life for validation. I've done it to feel safe, to feel worthy, to feel loved. and my twin flame activated all of the realization about that. For a long time I questioned whether this really was this twin flame thing. It seemed like there's just so many people out there claiming to be a twin flame, that the more I've learned about the experience, like everything that is part of that experience has happened to me. Like the dark night of the soul and the ego death at a level that I just, I spent the best part of a year like laying down in a fetal position, going through this ego death, like deep layers of programming that makes your whole life completely dismantle, right? Because you realize none of it's truth, none of it's who you truly are, and none of it is your love without conditions placed on it. And in that realizing, you get into this massive heart activation and you feel more love than you've ever felt in the whole world, but you realize that that's for you, not for somebody else. And that is, again, I think a massive misunderstanding of twin flames. It's not about a relationship, it is about the awakening. It is about coming back to soul. So this heart activation helped me to really see where what I've longed to become for other people, even what I look like, what I'm good at, the roles I can fit into, none of that is real unless it's you doing it for you, who you're meant to become for you, right? Which has shifted everything. How I work out in the gym, what I eat, what my body looks like, what I talk about, what my business does. And this is the shift, right? This is the awakening. And these dreams are so profound as mirrors, fragments of your own psyche speaking to you. This woman turning up in all my dreams for over a year, even before I knew that they were together, I dreamed of her. I understood through that dream why he would choose her, right? Because of what she represents to him, the safety, the order, the validation that he's worthy. There's no chaos with her, right? And she represents the version of me that I once believed that I had to become for someone else in order to be worthy of love too. I thought this beautiful dark feminine in me was bad. I thought that my color and my light was too much. And none of it was true, because all of that is me. All of that is me and my truest, most sovereign virgin, right? So in these dreams, we've got to look for the subtleties, not the big scene, not the big thing that happens, but how it makes you feel. What is it showing you? Disempowerment is a huge one that shows up in dream. Feeling small, feeling voiceless, and feeling powerless in a dream doesn't mean that you're weak. We don't look for the obvious, understanding of the dream. It's actually your unconscious, your subconscious holding unprocessed shame that is saying to you, I am not enough unless I perform, or I perfect, or I win, I achieve, I overpower. And your dreams can show you where you are identifying with roles outside of yourself that are actually not deeply aligned to your soul. This could be as a partner or in your business. Deep down, you're afraid that if you strip all of that external stuff away, there's nothing left. And the thing about the twin flame journey is it does that for you. As your ego dies, all of that is stripped away and there is nothing left. There's just this deep void, and that is part of the journey, is to be there and know at the core of that you're there. and you have all this creative power that you've not been using, right? You've been relying on these safety nets and these structures and depending on all of these things, and you've forgotten yourself, you've forgotten the power of yourself. So I think this is a huge thing that the twin flame journey brings up, and that's true vulnerability. It brings up all of your fear. Everything that's based in fear has to go, but that feeling of vulnerability, that I think that is where that is where we end up ultimately, because, you know, being vulnerable means letting love in, and that means with no conditions on it, right? It means being seen in your total rawness, not in any sort of a role. And that's what we're giving away when we allow our energy to go towards anything that isn't aligned to our true soul, right? When we're in a job because we think it will pay the bills, or we're in a relationship because it gives us a feeling of safety or validates our worthiness. Your soul is ready to reclaim that energy that you're giving away in the name of being chosen. And that's why your twin flame comes into your life. It's not about a relationship. It's about reclaiming your sovereignty. You know, it's crazy. It's the most insane experience that I've ever had. I've never ached for somebody so deeply. I've never experienced such collapse. I've never felt so obsessive about something. And then on the flip side of that has been the intensity of the rebirth. I've never been gifted the opportunity to rebirth in my life like this before. This journey absolutely collapsed my matrix. It absolutely has shifted my identity back to the truth of who I am. And because of that, I can no longer coach. I can no longer live in the suburban house. I can no longer hang out with people and have surface level conversations. I can no longer push and force. You know, even today, I couldn't even go to the gym. I've been to the gym nearly every day of my life. But I knew that my nervous system was dysregulated after 3 days with my kids. And it was a mission to get them out to school. And instead of filling myself up with coffee and going anyway, I chose, I couldn't not choose to love myself, to sit down, to drink a cacao, to meditate, to stroke my dog, and to look out on this beautiful nature, right? So nothing that isn't rooted in embodiment can be part of your life. And that is why I couldn't coach. You know, I couldn't become another system. I couldn't believe in the fact that we have to force people to do things, when I know that if we just shift our frequency, everything aligns without any force. And I know the power of music and frequency medicine to do that. I've allowed my mission to shift from teaching other people to be like me to actually helping them remember how to be themselves through frequency. Like I say, presence, sound, and deep energetic recalibration. And a big part of that is learning to be in that void, is learning to be in that space, to feel safe within yourself without grasping hold of all of these structures. And the thing I love about the sound, you know, just being frequency, it bypasses this fucking great big thing on our heads and speaks directly to your body. You know, it heals through activating those ancient codes that you have, I have, we all have, not trying to fill your head with information, right? And in remembering, in coming back to ourselves, in reconnecting to the soma, we unhook from all those false templates and we restore this beautiful harmony to our nervous system and we start following our soul by default. So if you really want to change your life, this is the easiest path. If you're stuck in a reality that you know doesn't match your vibration anymore, I knew for such a long time that my marriage, the way I was living, the way I was doing business was not aligned to the truth of who I am. But I was scared to let it go until this activation came in and just ripped everything, right? Just collapsed everything away. And I didn't have a choice but, like I say, to sit in that void and really understand what the hell I'm scared about and why I didn't trust myself. You know, the core of me, I'm connected to everything. So why would I be in lack? Why would I not be provided? And the experience that I've had is that I'm constantly provided for. I'm constantly guided. I'm loved by life itself. But that love is coming from me now, right? It's circulating because I finally love myself. I'm not contorting myself to be chosen. I'm not giving my energy away to places where it's not sacred. That word sacred applies to everything now. If it doesn't feel sacred, it doesn't happen. So if this message is stirring something in you, if you are awakening to the truth that you can no longer live in a world that doesn't match your frequency, then I'd love you to click the link down in the description. Choose your soul. It's a portal, and you're going to be able to access the relaunch of my book, Awaken Your Miracle Frequency. It's easier than you think to have it all at a penny's worth price of $3.99, but on top of that you're going to get a bunch of sacred tools, activations, transmissions valued at over $399. You'll also get a copy of my most recent collaboration book, Leading with Light, not the book itself but my chapter within it, where I share this deeper story of my twin flame and how it did become the catalyst for my full creative and soul mission activation. I talk about what divine love truly is, you know, this journey of unconditional love and how it does shift everything in your universe and how you can walk the same path. The chapter is called The True Alchemy of Abundance, and ultimately it is where this journey has led me to my sacred sexuality and how this is connected to my financial abundance. So all of these bonuses around this old book have been re-engineered with the new earth, my rebirth, aligned with the frequency of now, integrating my frequency medicine, my music, my sound, and also my deep feminine remembrance as well. So if you're ready to walk a different path, one that ultimately just leads you back to yourself, this is a gift to you. You'll also get to be first to hear my song, which is called I'll Sing You Home. Again, I believe that channeled straight out of this journey. I was walking through the sand dunes. I don't sing, I don't write music, and yet this song birthed from me and it's beautiful. You'll be first to receive a notification when the next podcast goes live, Mayu podcast this week. And Mayu is for conscious creators breaking free of those matrix templates. And the next podcast episode is just wild with this amazing soul sister called Karina Hart. And she's talking about breaking the wealth template, you know, how you really step into your divine feminine remembrance and switch your magnetism on. So click the link in the description to choose your soul now. Whew. That was a big breeze. See, another message. Speed, have haste. Go down into the description now and click that button. Oh my god, it's picking up again. Lots of love.